Imagine you spend like hundreds of hours developing this truly groundbreaking piece of software.
Oh yeah, the dream scenario.
Right. You've got the cleanest code, the most intuitive interface, and you just know without a doubt that users are going to absolutely love it. But there is a massive catch.
There always is.
Yeah. If Apple decides, for whatever reason, not to let your software into their app store, your product essentially just doesn't exist.
It's in trouble.
Exactly. You have no distribution. You have no access to all those customers who are already standing in the digital aisles with their wallets out. Like, you can build the greatest product in the world, but if you don't have access to that walled garden, you just cannot compete.
It's the ultimate bottleneck in modern business, really. I mean, you're describing basic platform mechanics. The creator takes on all the risk of actually developing the product, but the platform holds all the leverage.
Right, because they control the audience.
Because they control the audience and the infrastructure. Yeah.
And what's truly surprising is how that exact dynamic, that shift from relying entirely on just your individual talent to securing access to a highly controlled, exclusive walled garden is fundamentally rewiring a massive, highly emotional market right now.
Oh, totally. It's completely upending things.
So today we're pulling back the curtain on the modern luxury wedding industry. We are looking at this comprehensive industry document. It's literally just titled photographer.docs, and it outlines the massive rise of these photographer venue alliances and exclusive shooting rights deals.
It's such a fascinating shift.
It really is.
Yeah.
So our mission for you on this deep dive, whether you're, an independent contractor, maybe a marketing executive, or just someone fascinated by how markets evolve and consolidate, is to really unpack the mechanics of this shift. We want to understand how creative talent is essentially being commodified into strategic real estate.
Yeah, and what that actually means for the future of independent business across the board.
Yeah.
Because it really challenges that core mythology we have about creative industries, right?
Right, the whole starving artist making it big.
Exactly. We tend to romanticize the event space, and especially weddings, as this purely artistic endeavor. Like, the narrative is always, if you take breathtaking emotional photos, the market will reward you.
Clients will just magically seek you out.
Right. But the documentation we're analyzing today reveals a much, much colder economic reality. It's really no longer just about taking pretty pictures. The market is transitioning into this integrated ecosystem of search engine optimization, locked-in supply chains, and these heavily gated revenue streams.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand the business implications, we first need to define what exactly these exclusive contracts look like on the ground.
Yeah, let's get into the structure.
So the source material breaks this down into two distinct tiers of collaboration. The first is what they call photographer venue alliances.
Right.
And these operate as somewhat semi-formal partnerships. So like a venue might have a preferred vendor list, and they regularly recommend a specific photographer.
But the client still ultimately has the freedom to bring in outside talent if they really push for it.
Exactly. They can say no. But then you have the second tier, which is the exclusive shooting rights deal. And this is where that walled garden really solidifies.
Oh, absolutely. These are aggressive, legally binding contracts. It means a specific photographer is granted absolute, sole access to a particular venue. It goes way beyond just a friendly recommendation.
Right, meaning if a couple wants to get married at, say, this premium historic estate, they are obligated to use the estate's contracted photographer, period. No outside talent allowed.
That is the core mechanism here, yeah. And the documentation notes that this practice is rapidly dominating luxury weddings, destination events, and even high-end corporate event spaces.
It's everywhere.
It really is. And the contracts mandate long-term collaboration. So they guarantee exposure for the photographer by just permanently tying their services to the venue's booking process.
But wait, I have to ask. If you're a couple spending, I don't know, $80,000 or $100,000 on a luxury venue, don't you want absolute control over who captures the event?
You would certainly think so.
Right. Like, in a creative field, shouldn't the best portfolio win? Why isn't talent alone enough to secure bookings anymore? Why would a client surrender that choice?
What's fascinating here is that you're actually running straight into the paradox of choice. It goes so much further than just picking a good artist.
How so?
Well, when couples are dropping that kind of money, they aren't actually buying a photographer and a venue as separate line items anymore. They are buying risk mitigation.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. They are purchasing a guaranteed, flawless outcome. A luxury wedding is a one-take environment. There are no reshoots. You can't just do it again next weekend.
So the venue is essentially telling the client, look, we are protecting your investment.
Exactly that. Because from the venue's perspective, bringing in an outside photographer is actually a massive liability.
Really? A liability?
Yeah, totally. An unknown creative might not understand the specific, lighting challenges of a 19th century ballroom when the sun goes down. They might disrupt the catering timeline, or worse, they might drag heavy light stands across antique hardwood floors and scratch them up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about the physical damage.
Exactly.
Mm.
So by enforcing an exclusive deal, the venue acts as this massive quality filter. It's a mutual endorsement that just removes all the guesswork for the client. The venue says, hey, this artist knows the logistical reality of this specific property better than literally anyone else.
So talent is just the baseline now,
Exactly. It's the absolute minimum requirement to even sit at the negotiating table.
which completely flips the script on how we view these artists. The industry goes from being purely talent-based to being heavily collaboration-based, but obviously that kind of structural shift doesn't happen in a vacuum. There have to be massive market forces pushing it.
Oh, for sure. And the documents outline several major growth drivers accelerating this whole trend. The primary catalyst, unsurprisingly, is the hypervisual nature of social media.
Right. Instagram, Pinterest.
Specifically those two, yes. Clients are not walking into venues with just a vague idea of what they want anymore. They are arriving with these perfectly curated, highly produced mood boards.
And they expect the final product to look exactly like the mood board. No deviations.
Which leads directly to the rising demand for what the industry calls cinematic wedding photography. And achieving that level of production value requires deep, intimate familiarity with location. You need to know the specific lighting, the exact angles at different times of day.
You can't just show up and wing it.
Exactly. Combine that expectation with the massive boom we're seeing in destination weddings, where clients are booking completely sight unseen.
Oh, right, because they're flying in from somewhere else.
Yeah, so they need to trust a fully integrated local team. You create an environment where the solitary independent creative simply cannot compete with a fully orchestrated alliance.
Okay, so let's look at the actual mechanics of this mutual win, starting with the photographer. What's the economic loop that makes giving up your independence actually worthwhile?
It's a big trade-off.
It is. The source highlights guaranteed high-end projects, which fundamentally changes a creative's entire business model. Because if the venue is literally feeding you clients, your customer acquisition cost drops to near zero.
That is the crucial metric right there, zero CAC. I mean, independent photographers spend thousands of dollars, and honestly, hundreds of hours every month on marketing.
Yeah, running ads, going to those crazy bridal expos.
Just to generate a few leads. But in an exclusive alliance, the venue's existing foot traffic and their massive marketing spend become the photographer's personal lead generation machine.
Plus, they get this massive portfolio enhancement. By consistently shooting in, say, a multi-million-dollar space, their work inherently just looks more expensive.
Yeah, the perceived value goes way up.
Right. It creates this halo effect that allows them to raise their rates across the board. But what about the venue? Like, a premium venue is giving up a lot of leverage by locking their entire brand to a single individual artist.
Well, the venue is extracting immense value too, primarily through guaranteed professional visual content for their own marketing.
Oh, so free photos for them.
Basically, yeah. When a venue has a contracted artist on site every single weekend, they have an endless pipeline of premium content for their social media and their ad campaigns. When their photography is consistently world-class, their online appeal just skyrockets.
Which directly drives increased bookings. You know, here's where it gets really interesting to me. It reminds me of a symbiotic relationship in nature.
Oh, like what?
Like the clownfish and the sea anemone. You know, the photographer gets this safe, lucrative home base, and the venue gets this dazzling visual armor that attracts more high-end clients. It's a perfect loop.
That's a great way to look at it. It's exactly like how major tech platforms operate too.
Right, like Shopify or Amazon.
Yes. They provide the infrastructure and the customers, but they completely rely on thousands of third-party merchants to actually stock the shelves with interesting stuff. The platform gets the vitality, and the merchant gets the security of a massive customer base.
And the source documentation takes that whole digital ecosystem concept even further. They detail these search engine optimization benefits that are frankly, entirely invisible to the client, but absolutely massive for the businesses.
Oh, the SEO side of this is huge.
So let's break down the mechanics of that SEO benefit, because I think it is fascinating. How does a real-world alliance actually manipulate Google's search rankings?
Okay, so it revolves around digital real estate and domain authority. Google's algorithm essentially ranks websites based on trust, right?
Right.
So when a highly trafficked, established luxury venue domain links back to a photographer's portfolio,
Which they do on like a featured vendors page or
right,
something.
or in a collaborative blog post,
Mhm.
when they do that, Google sees that as a massive vote of confidence.
So the photographer literally inherits a fraction of the venue's digital authority.
Precisely. And the photographer does the exact same thing in return. Every single time they publish a gallery, they link back to the venue.
Wow, so it's a loop?
It creates a closed, highly authoritative backlink loop. Both parties just shoot up the search rankings, completely outperforming independent competitors who just don't have those institutional connections. Higher visibility leads to higher conversion rates, and neither of them spent a single dime on traditional advertising.
That is brilliant. But implementing this has to be incredibly complex, because if I'm just a photographer, I can't exactly walk into a premium estate and demand they link to my website and hand over their client.
No, they'd laugh you out of the room.
Right. So how do these diverse businesses actually find each other? And more importantly, how do they structure these deals without one side completely exploiting the other?
Well, that is where the infrastructure has had to catch up with the market demand. The industry documents introduce a platform called Weddizer, which is essentially stepping in to act as the digital blueprint for this entire ecosystem.
So let's look closely at Weddizer. Is it just a matchmaking directory, like a LinkedIn for wedding vendors, or is it doing something deeper?
It functions much more like a specialized SaaS platform combined with a marketplace. It's really not just about visibility through curated listings.
Okay.
Weddizer is actively designed to manage the actual mechanics of these collaborations. It bridges the gap by providing the digital infrastructure to negotiate and finalize these highly complex, legally binding agreements.
Which is critical because the nuts and bolts of a successful shooting rights agreement read like a corporate merger.
They really do.
I mean, the source lists several necessary clauses. You have to negotiate the exact duration of the partnership, the specific number of exclusive events. But the real friction point seems to be the revenue sharing models and the usage rights.
Yeah, those are definitely the two heaviest levers in the contract. I mean, revenue sharing can take so many forms. Does the venue charge the client a premium for an all-inclusive package and then just pay the photographer a flat contracted rate?
Right.
Or does the photographer bill the client directly, but then they have to kick back, say, 20% to the venue as a licensing fee for the exclusive access?
And then the usage rights dictate who actually owns the intellectual property. Because the venue obviously wants unrestricted commercial rights to take those raw images and run Facebook ads with them forever.
Oh, for sure.
But the photographer wants to protect their copyright. They want to control how their art is filtered or cropped. So what does this all mean for the little guy? It sounds like you need a law degree to shoot a wedding now. How do vendors negotiate all this without getting exploited?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture of the broader gig economy, this is where independent contractors historically just get crushed.
Yeah, every time.
Right. A solo photographer usually cannot afford a corporate lawyer to draft a contract that actually protects them against a multi-million-dollar hospitality group. They risk signing away literally all their rights just to get access to that walled garden.
Just to get a foot in the door.
Exactly. So platforms like Weddizer are attempting to standardize the handshake. By providing these legally sound, balanced frameworks for the alliances, they lower the barrier to entry. They ensure that even independent creatives have a clear blueprint to secure fair compensation and, crucially, protect their IP.
That makes sense. But, giving a venue a total monopoly over your income stream just creates a massive liability.
It's risky.
Yeah, even with a standardized contract, there have to be deep systemic risks here. If I'm an independent artist, aren't I essentially just becoming an unbenefited employee of the venue at this point?
It is a very real operational threat. And to be fair, the documents highlight these exact friction points.
Well, the most glaring one for me is the risk of creative burnout. I mean, if you were shooting the exact same grand staircase, the exact same ballroom with the exact same lighting every single weekend for 2 straight years,
You're going to go crazy.
you're no longer an artist. You are a factory worker on an assembly line. Isn't there a massive risk of losing your independent brand identity by legally tethering yourself to one specific aesthetic?
Yeah, you are basically balancing the anxiety of the open market against the reality of golden handcuffs. The financial stability is incredible, obviously, but the artistic stagnation is a massive risk. And furthermore, there's the danger